Behind bulletproof glass in Jerusalem's Shrine of the Book sits a scroll most tourists photograph without reading. The Great Isaiah Scroll. Catalog number 1Q Isa A, pulled from Cave 1 at Qumran in 1947. 24 feet of parchment, radiocarbon dated to more than a century before Rome ever ruled Judea. Most people walk right past it, but hidden inside it is something that shouldn't exist. A single verse that describes a political event with a date attached to it, an event that happened 2,000 years after the ink dried. And in late 2025, that verse became the anchor point for one of the strangest experiments ever run on an artificial intelligence. A data analyst fed Grok every prophecy about Israel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Hosea, Daniel, over 700 dated passages, and asked one question. Don't interpret them, just plot them. Map every claimed fulfillment on a single timeline. The machine did. For 25 centuries, the timeline behaved. And then, after 2026, it gets strange. If you want to see where this goes, subscribe now, because this one doesn't end where you think. Start with the anchor. Isaiah 66-8 asks, "Can a nation be born in a day?" For decades, scholars dismissed it as symbolic, rhetorical poetry about the return from Babylon. But that explanation has a problem. On May 14th, 1948, at 4 p.m. in Tel Aviv, a nation was declared, recognized, and at war inside 24 hours. Born in a day. Not a myth, not a metaphor. And the scroll describing it was carbon dated to roughly 125 BC. Whatever this is, it isn't hindsight. Second clue. Ezekiel 37, the Valley of Dry Bones. I will gather you from all the nations, from the four corners of the earth. The mainstream reading says this meant Babylon, 6th century BC. But Babylon was one nation, one direction. The text says all nations, four corners. And between 1948 and today, Jews returned from over 100 countries on every inhabited continent. The pattern in the text matches the pattern in the migration records. Not similar, not inspired by it, the same. It reads less like poetry and more like a schedule. Third clue, and here's where it gets strange. Hosea 6-2. After 2 days, he will revive us. On the third day, he will raise us up. Symbolic, scholars said. But the AI cross-referenced an ancient key, Psalm 90 and the Talmud Sanhedrin 97a, where a day equals 1,000 years. 2 days from the dispersion of the first century lands you at roughly 2030. When Grok applied that key across every unfulfilled passage, the scattered dates stopped scattering. They converged into a narrow 7-year band opening in 2026, flat residuals for 25 centuries. Then, a wall. The analyst posted the full output. It was posted, it was screenshotted, and then it disappeared. The thread deleted within 48 hours, the account silent. And when others reran the identical prompt after the next model update, the timeline wouldn't render. Not refined. Gone. Now, does this prove the most extreme version of the story? Probably not. Grok's training data is saturated with prophecy forums. Language models find patterns because finding patterns is all they do. This could be apophenia at industrial scale. But that doesn't make the discovery ordinary, because the anchor dates aren't AI outputs. 1948 happened. 1967 happened. And the scroll predates both by 2 millennia, verified by 2 independent radiocarbon labs. If even one of these texts encoded a real schedule, then our history is missing a chapter, a way of recording time we've forgotten how to read. They weren't guessing. They were counting. Which leaves one question nobody has answered. Why does every unfulfilled line converge on the same narrow band? The exact years we are living through right now. Tonight, the scroll is still there, under glass, under climate control, while crowds file past it toward the gift shop. Still sealed, still counting. And somewhere on a deleted server, a timeline is waiting for 2026 to answer for it. If this one got under your skin, like this video, subscribe and watch what the AI found next, because the second timeline was never supposed to be public.